Deuteronomy chapter 3, continuing on in this. They are getting so close to getting into the promised land, literally. So in this one, of course, the children of Israel are going to get into a scuffle with the people of Bashan. Their lands on the east of the Jordan are given to Reuben and Gad. Remember, they asked for that inheritance. Moses sees Canaan from Pisgah, but is denied entrance thereto. He counsels and strengthens Joshua. So this goes into, we kind of got to this point right towards the end of the book of Numbers. And now that we're starting the next book, they kind of have quickly summarized the last 40 years, basically. And now we're getting into there where they're going to head into the promised land here pretty soon. Okay, verse 1, Then we turned and went up the way to Bashan, and Og, the king of Bashan, came out against us, he and all his people, to battle at Edrei. The Lord said unto me, Fear him not, for I will deliver him and all his people and his land into thy hand. Thou shalt do unto him as thou didst unto Sihon, king of the Amorites, which dwelt at Heshbon. So the Lord our God delivered into our hands Og, also the king of Bashan, and all his people, and we smote him until none was left to him remaining. And we took all his cities at that time. There was not a city which we took not from them. 80 cities, all the region of Argob, the king of Og, in Bashan. All these cities were fenced in with high walls, gates, and bars, beside unwalled towns, a great many. And we utterly destroyed them, as we did unto Sihon, king of Heshbon, utterly destroying the men, women, and children of every city. But all the cattle and the spoil of the cities we took for a prey to ourselves. And we took out at that time out of the hand of the two kings of the Amorites the land that was on this side Jordan, from the river of Arnon unto Mount Hermon, which Hermon the Sidonians call Sirion, and the Amorites called it Shenir. So a little bit of other ancient history references that are in there as well. Okay, verse 10, All the cities of the plain in all Gilead and all Bashan unto Salcah and Edrei, the cities of the kingdom of Og in Bashan. And you can look a lot of these up again in Bible Dictionary. For only Og, king of Bashan, remained of the remnant of giants. Behold, his bedstead was a bedstead of iron. Is it not in Rabbath the children of Ammon? 9 cubits was the length thereof, and 4 cubits the breadth thereof, after the cubit of a man. So big, very big, okay? A common cubit, if you look in the footnote, 11d, common cubit about 18 inches or 45 centimeters. So 18 inches, okay, that's a foot and a half, basically, is 1 cubit, and it was 9 cubits. So this is probably somewhere around like 15 feet tall, a 15-foot long bed, basically, and 4 cubits long. So it's probably about 6 feet wide and 15 feet long. That's a big bed. Holy cow. Made of iron, too. It's a pretty good bed. Which is interesting because the idea of bedsteads is a common one. If you go back and look up in the book of Abraham, the lion couch and the lion bed from Egypt was a common phraseology there, as well as even through Sodom and Gomorrah. They had things like that as well. So it's interesting that they're giving us a reference for his height, but he had this bedstead that survived, basically. So they met another group of people, and the group of people decided to fight Israel instead of work with Israel, and so they got destroyed. Verse 12, And this land which we possessed at that time, from Aroer, which is by the river Arnon, and half Mount Gilead, and the cities thereof, gave I unto the Reubenites and to the Gadites. So these are the tribe of Gad and the tribe of Reuben. Okay, remember, and half the tribe of Manasseh as well. In fact, verse 13, it says, And the rest of Gilead and all Bashan, being the kingdom of Og, gave I unto the half tribe of Manasseh, all the region of Argob, with all Bashan, which was called the land of giants. If you look in the Bible dictionary, in the maps section, you can see a map of the area, ancient Israel, and where these boundaries were, where the tribes got their inheritance. You can see how big this land area was on the east side of the Dead Sea, basically, and that area over there. Again, this is the people chose to fight against Israel. and they lost because of it. The people who chose not to fight survived and did fine. The people that chose to fight were destroyed. Basically is what's been going on. Now they're just about there. They just need to get on the other side of the Jordan River to get into more of the promised land area here. In fact, verse 14 is Jair, the son of Manasseh, took all the country of Argob unto the coasts of Geshuri and Machathai, and called them after his own name, Bashan, Havoth, Jair, unto this day. And I gave Gilead unto Machir, and unto the Reubenites and to the Gadites I gave from Gilead even unto the river Arnon half the valley, the border even unto the river Jabbok, which is the border of the children of Ammon, the plain also in Jordan, the coast thereof from Chinnereth even unto the sea of the plain, even the salt sea, which is the Dead Sea, under Ashdoth Pisgah, eastward. And I commanded you at that time, saying, the Lord your God hath given you this land to possess it. Ye shall pass over armed before your brethren, the children of Israel, that all are meet for the war. But your wives and your little ones and your cattle, for I know that ye have much cattle, shall abide in your cities, which I have given unto you. So this is kind of going into the story we got at the end of the book of Numbers, basically. Like it says in verse 20, until the Lord have given rest unto your brethren, as well as unto you, and until they also possess the land which the Lord your God hath given them beyond Jordan, then shall you return every man unto his possession, which I have given you. So remember, the children of Gad and the children of Reuben and some of the children of Manasseh, they went to Moses and said, we want to have this land as our possession. And Moses is like, okay, I'll talk to God about that. But the problem is does that mean you get your land and you get your peace and happiness and the rest of us have to still go into the promised land and fight and deal with the other people there? You're not going to be here to help us? And they said, no. We promise if you give us this land, the men will come fight. Basically, let us establish ourselves here so our cattle can run, our women and children can have a place to stay, and the men will go in and fight, and we will stay there and fight with you until it's done. Then we'll come back to our cities. And they said, okay, that sounds good. We'll do that. All right, so now verse 21, and I commanded Joshua at that time, saying, thine eyes have seen all that the Lord your God hath done unto these two kings. So shall the Lord do unto all the kingdoms whither thou passest. Ye shall not fear them, for the Lord your God, he shall fight for you. And I besought the Lord at that time, saying, so this is Moses seeking the Lord, O Lord God, thou hast begun to show thy servant thy greatness and thy mighty hand. For what God is there in heaven or on earth that can do according to thy works and according to thy might? I pray thee, let me go over and see the good land that is beyond Jordan, that goodly mountain and Lebanon. But the Lord was wroth with me for your sakes, and would not hear me. And the Lord said unto me, let it suffice thee, speak no more unto me of this matter. So you got to remember that Moses was being punished because he didn't keep the commandments all the way with that. He was supposed to speak unto that rock to command it to let the water come forth, but he hid it instead to break it. So he says here in verse 27, get thee up into the top of Pisgah, lift up thine eyes westward and northward and southward and eastward, and behold it with thine eyes, for thou shalt not go over this Jordan. But charge Joshua and encourage him and strengthen him, for he shall go over before this people. He shall cause them to inherit the land which thou shalt see. So we abode in the valley over against Beth Peor. So now we're caught up. Basically, that was those last two chapters pretty much summarize the last 40 years of Israelite history, which Leviticus and Numbers spent a lot of time talking about. So now we're at this point. Moses is told, you're not going in, but you can see it. So you can go up to the top of this hill and you can be up there to see it, but you're not going to be able to enter it. You're going to turn the reins of ruling the Israelites over to Joshua, and then he's going to take the people in as well. So let's go into the next chapter to learn more.